I'm Mike Phillips, Executive Vice President of Sales and Marketing, Upper Deck.
I'm Jean MacLeod. I am the Senior Director of Design.
So long before being here at Upper Deck, both Jean and I worked together many, many years ago in the mid-90s at a company called Skybox. And Jean was heading up design at the time, and I was heading up product development. And specifically in the mid to late 90s, I managed a brand new brand called EX-2000. And Jean was charged with designing that brand.
So when we purchased Skybox in 1995, EXL was a brand that they already had. And so we had that brought into the office. We were kind of looking at it, and that's kind of what we springboarded EX-2000 off of that brand.
We had planned at the time in 1996, actually, yeah, it was about 1996, 95, 96, when we first started discussing this brand, bringing it to all four sports. At the time, Fleer Skybox had licenses with football, baseball, basketball, and hockey. And the first one to come out was basketball. It was a huge hit, and that was followed by baseball and then football. The hockey product was going to be the fourth. It was built. I had built it, even as far as creating the checklist on who would be in the product. But from a timing standpoint, it ended up never happening because Fleer Skybox and the NHL decided to not renew the hockey contract. So the product never saw the light of day.
So this is kind of the set that never was. That's the way we look at it.
Was. Well, bringing it back now, 30 years later, obviously the industry has evolved and changed quite a bit. However, with that being said, a lot of the key tenets of the industry remain. Back when the original EX-2000s were coming out, parallel sets were just sort of being born and being imagined and being accepted. Particularly the serially numbered parallel was something that actually Fleer debuted with Circa Baseball in 1996. So it was a time when the numbered parallel was in its infancy. So while it's still incredibly as popular as ever, the expectation of collectors versus then, as opposed to now, is much greater. So you have much more expectation in terms of foils, colors, numbering. So this new iteration of EX-2000 brings it into the 2020s now with a lot more variation in the parallels. That's probably the key difference.
Yeah, we try to keep the design very close to the original. It is upgraded in that it's a heavier stock. It should feel more substantial than the original, but there are additional parallels, which is what we do now. We do a lot of parallels.
I think it's really important to, if we're truly are creating the set that never was and filling that hole that's been sitting there in the hobby for 30 years, to make sure that the design, certainly the base set, is as true to the original as possible. And while that sounds really easy to do, printing technologies and equipment, things have changed quite a bit in 30 years. So it's not quite as easy as it sounds.
To me, I'm very excited to have the set that never was finally come out. So if you collected those three original sets, this would be a great addition to that. Even if you're not a hockey collector, and to hockey collectors now, they can get in on the game of what we had back in the 90s, which was very popular, and I think they're beautiful cards. So
yeah, I agree. I can finally sleep now that this fourth and final piece of the puzzle is complete.
Yeah.
I just think it's rare that you have the opportunity to go back and address something from so long ago within an industry or within a company, or for us who are lucky enough to work in the hobby, in this great industry, get to do it and get to have some influence over a product that started so many years ago that I had a hand in, and then to be able to work with Jean to do it, who I worked with 30 years ago to build this thing in the first place, is pretty special. and to see it come to fruition is definitely a blessing. And I just hope people like it, and I hope that people who collected the originals, as well as this new wave of collectors, really enjoy, busting these packs.